Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh here closing out the work week on a Friday. 7 NBA games to go through tonight. We've got best bets for a couple of these. We've also got some player props that we're looking at. Bringing both of those to you in one episode moving forward each and every weekday. So make sure to subscribe to that channel and continue to follow along all season. Nate, let's jump into your first look here, getting to the Utah Jazz, Memphis Grizzlies. Look, there's a couple games on the slate here that I think are a little bit juicier than others. This is definitely one of them, and you like the Jazz to cover on the road.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to take a position on, right? Because it sounds like Ja Morant's going to return, and I think everybody's focusing on whether that's going to spark the Grizzlies, it's going to hurt the Grizzlies. I think they're probably looking the wrong way. It's the fact that Zach Edey's out that's going to be a problem. I mean, their defense just turned into an elite paint defense with Edey playing extremely well. Totally flipped their disadvantage on the boards, and his absence is going to be felt here against a Jazz team that you could otherwise bully down low with no Walker Kessler. I mean, and you look at the Jazz on extra rest, so you know Lauri Markkanen's going to play, and you know he's going to be gunning. And I mean, I trust this offense to find some stuff against this Edey-less defense. That's a fun one. They're number one in assist to field goal ratio. They're number 7 in OREB percentage, which is why Edey's so huge. Number 4 in free throw rate. And they had some time to digest these whoopings from the Knicks and Thunder, the last thing they got before this little mini break. Now you get 4 days off. They're 5-1 ATS on 2 days rest are the Jazz, for what it's worth. And I mean, they just mostly played elite teams, man. They're 7th toughest schedule in the league so far. And they've covered in 6 of the last 7 when they've at least been plus 10 or under. So it's like, as long as we're not in a spot where we're just completely expected to get waxed, the Jazz are actually, they're pretty feisty. They said they're not tanking this year, according to our guy, Austin Ainge. So I'll believe him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to do with them. I don't know who's going to be playing how many minutes or whatever, but the point is this is a different Memphis team that I picked under regular season wins because I thought Ja and Edey would be missing enough games that this would be the case. And here's an Edey-less game, and it looks like Ja's playing. All the like lines and everything seem to be saying to us that like there's tip that Ja is playing tonight. But my bet here for the same game is that this is not going to be that high scoring. That's too many points, too many. The Jazz on the road. Let me just keep it simple. Like I'll go through a few more things, but like I'll just get it right into it. 108.6 points per game on the road in 10 games. In 13 games, 124.5 points at home. I would tell you to be cautious with home road splits if I wasn't talking about the Utah Jazz. And this hadn't been the case for, I don't know, however long I can remember. It feels like since Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert were playing together, this is the Jazz. It's just at home, X, at away, bad. So I think what we're going to see here on the pace, maybe you think that the Grizzlies with Ja are going to be playing faster. They're at home. They play a little bit faster at home, but they also just play way better defense at home. The Jazz actually it seems like they're trying to slow things down on the road. They do play about 3 possessions slower on the road. They just score so many fewer points because their offensive rating is so boo-boo. And it's also kind of like on the road, it seems like Will Hardy has just been like, well, when we get these big spreads, like I'm going to give equal time to Ace Bailey, to Will Clayton, guys that I'm sure some people watching this haven't heard of in terms of Will Clayton, probably. And so there's a couple guys like Walter. That's also why you haven't heard of Will Clayton. It's Walter Clayton. I look stupid. I haven't heard of Will Clayton either. But Walter Clayton Jr. has been getting about 20 minutes here, and then the next game he played 32, and then the next game he played 17. That's a 3-game stretch for one player. Taylor Hendricks is not playing tonight, I think, but now it's like maybe he will come up from the G League where he's been playing. Like it's just all over the place with them in a way that I'm like, what's the consistent offense? You do have Keontae George and Lauri Markkanen for like 32 to 34 minutes, and they're gonna play that amount of time. That'll be it. Kyle Filipowski looks a lot better without having to play center next to a guy like Zach Edey. If that was going to be something that had to happen on the court, Edey was going to just get every single rebound in that case. Not the case anymore. The best rebounder now for this team, Santi Aldama, I guess, maybe Vince, like Gigi Jackson's out. That would have been maybe their best. They don't have rebounders now. And I just think that the Jazz are going to be able to keep it close, but really there's all over the place. There's not going to be offensive easy boards coming for the Grizzlies. They can play at whatever pace they want. I just don't think this gets to 240.
Best rebounder, Seti Coward, the rookie. which
Probably. Okay.
actually I think brings us to something I think we can handshake on about this game is Seti Coward points and rebounds.
I love him.
Because yeah, he maybe, but I actually like this one more here as a second best bet. I think this is like very reliable in terms of I like the Pacers to cover first of all plus 7.5, but you can tease them up to 10 and say Maxi gets close to his points prop and you're at plus money. It's a Maxi I'm sick game, right? He's probable with an illness. It sounds like he'll be fine though. We don't know if Embiid's going to play, right? I think he's probable, but that means questionable. So and it's actually helped though when Joel Embiid has played. Maxi has 25 plus in all 9. He's averaged 34 and a half. Usage rate is the exact same, and the assists are up. And you look at him on extra rest here. Recently, I mean, you look at the 3 times he didn't score 25 recently. It looks kind of like he was just kind of wearing down. I mean, just insane workload early in the season. He went under on a 3rd and 4 nights. He went under when they got blown out by a million in Orlando and against the Brooklyn Nets, who are suddenly amazing at defense. So I don't know what to do with that one, but it's the NBA. Yeah. But his one outing on 3 days rest this season, Josh, he had 40. He had a career high 150 offensive rating. So Maxi's going to get his, even though Nembhard is a pretty good matchup for him. And you look at why the Pacers are going to cover. I mean, their defense has been definitely good enough to keep this Philly offense down. And you're going to get into that, but Philly's 27th in offense rating, 5th in defensive rating since basically getting Paul George back. They are a defense first team now. And the Pacers are 4th in defensive rating in their last 7 since Benny Matz has been activated. Like they're not getting blown out. Like they're getting other guys healthier too, but only 3 losses this year by double digits with Benny Matz. And it's because Detroit, Denver, and Cleveland scored a whole bunch of points. Different situation now with their defense playing better, and I don't think Philly can really light them up like that.
Right. Yeah. There's reasons why Philly's sort of turned the corner in the way that they have, at least on defense, specifically. No, not at least, specifically on defense. And it is on offense. I think we are running into like some clunkiness where when Joel is out there, he's just not in the way. He's Joel Embiid, but he just is somebody that is has such a strong gravitational pull that the offense kind of wants to go towards him. But like it's Maxi's squad, and I think you're going to see him get out into transition. The key here too is like there's nobody protecting the rim. I know Jay Huff has been doing great on these blocks coming away off of his guy and over. Like if he wants to do that, come off of Embiid, then Embiid's just going to have 25 points in 20 minutes. So I think he's going to have to stay home a little bit more. Maxi's going to be getting that floater game going. I think he's going to get out in transition. I do like him to be the one to lead the charge there and get to 25 because like he's a 31 a night scorer, but I still think this game goes under because of the stuff you were talking about here, and that's everything that I found. Like every time I'm looking for indie stats, I'll just start there. Like it's going to be some sort of boring, but they rank between 12 and 17th in everything, like all of the time. On defense, on offense, it's Rick Carlisle. He's going to be sort of a coach that can mix it up a little bit more. He has more types of schemes. He can sort of play adaptive. He can adapt to the offenses that he's going up against and vice versa. The defenses his offense is going up against. So he's tough to pin down, but like they don't play fast. They're going to play much more so at the speed that the other team plays at. And this team with Joel Embiid is looking at like a 96 pace. That's what it's going to be when you're playing with Joel. You have to let him get set. He's going to come up to the top of the key. He's probably going to get one of the first passes as he sort of slowly runs down and is the last one to come up court. And he's standing at the top of the key with the ball and then make some It's going to waste like 7 seconds every shot clock. If you watch the 76ers, that's why they play slowly, is they're literally waiting for their lumbering center to come catch the ball at the top of the key off of a pass to sort of start the offense, right? And we're already like 6 seconds in the shot clock at that point. So I think that's going to continue to be the reason why this actually already got bet down from its opening 226.5. The pace is just going to be under 99. I think that's pretty much a guarantee, especially when these two teams play. And you look at the recent games for Philly, like they're basically averaging like 216.5 in their last 4 at this point in the totals, and they're contributing on offense decently well. Like their offensive rating is bad, but they're just playing so slow too that like the other team doesn't get a chance to score. So they're kind of fooling you in a way. But yeah, with Indy's defense, it's been coming to life a bit more because Jay Huff is down there able to at least like swat shots. Again, that might be a problem if he's guarding Joel. We'll see how Carlisle matches up there. But everything has been a lot better on the wing defense as well with Nembhard and Benny Matz back.
Yeah, I mean, no notes. That's basically what I was thinking in terms of why the Pacers gonna cover. It's been slow. It's been low scoring with the Sixers. This should come down to the fourth quarter, and that's maxi time too. Looking at some props here, straight up, Brandon Miller, 21 and a half points. I mean, I think we like Charlotte. I think we maybe like some points in this game with Chicago getting guys back, namely Kobe White, who's actually probable, not questionable, for the first time in a long time. But on the other side, they're going to let people waltz to the rim as they always have. Io DeSunmu also being out is huge for Miller's matchup here. And he has done very well against Chicago his last two. But let's just look at the last 8 with no Namelo, 25 a game, despite terrible efficiency, a 102 offensive rating, but huge usage, 34%. You had a couple matchups against Chicago in that situation. Last year, he went 21 points on 21 shots. He shot 3 for 15 from three. He did not attack the rim. I think there's been a nice little evolution from Miller in terms of mixing up what he's trying to do offensively. This year, he's been very good inside and out. And Chicago's interior defense, very, very bad. What else can I say, man? I mean, Charlotte dropped once. The Bulls actually dropped 116 on this Charlotte defense in a game that was high scoring. So, I mean, the total at only 229 and a half could be a buy low spot for this Bulls offense and Bulls environment to like just get back on track after their little mini break. They were running on fumes. I think going into this bye week, if you will.
Yeah, I was looking at Brandon Miller. I like him in this one definitely to be able to get some shots up. Finally, 20 shots per 36 without LaMelo. So I like the usage that he's going to see in this one. Let me go to Con Knipple and tell you why I'm not going over on him the way that we like Brandon Miller. I don't like Con in this one. I think what we're seeing here is that, like, yes, this is going to be a fast-paced game. It's going to be Chicago. It's going to be bad defense. There's not going to be much down low for him. But there's going to be plenty down low for him, I should say, in terms of Vooch's ability to protect the rim. But Matas is going to be his matchup, and I do think that's good enough to sort of keep Khan's versatile edge that he might have over other teams with bad defenses at bay. And then you add the fact that like the over sort of rectification here of the fact that there is no LaMelo Ball, but 23 and a half points and assists for a dude who's averaging like 22, 21 and a half PA per 36 when LaMelo is off court. That doesn't even include making sure you have Brandon Miller and Miles Bridges on court with him. That's just saying when LaMelo is off court this season and Concanipple is playing, he's averaging 21 and a half points and assists per 36 minutes. So there's no edge to LaMelo being out on the dimes, and 4.5 for the assists alone is insane. Like if you want to isolate one of those, that's what I'd be playing is under 4.5 assists. If you want to keep the points in there at 18.5, I still think the shots won't be quite as plentiful for him as we've seen. Like if you just look at a filter, Concanipple playing without LaMelo, there's going to be a whole bunch of games at the beginning of the season where Brandon Miller was out and Concanipple scored 24, 31, 26 points, what have you. That's just not the case when there's going to be that many shots going to Brandon Miller, like I imagine. So I'm fine adding the points, but biggest edge here is under on the 4.5 times.
Are you copying me, man? You come in behind me every game right now with a different pick, but at least we're kind of working together on this one in terms of like Miller more usage, Concanipple more of a support guy. With Buzelis on him, maybe he gets stamped out a little bit. SGP, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, or really, I mean, it's not complicated. I think 20 plus points, which is below his point mark. And this is just a way to reduce the juice, if you will, on a minus 170 for him to hit 3 threes. Because he just gets them up, man. He's averaging like 10 attempts per game. His last 8 without the zinger. That includes 10 attempts per game against Detroit. He hit 6 attempts last time out. He's averaging 25 a game and 2 against Detroit. And it makes sense because this is a pack the paint defense. It allows you to drift to the wing, drift to the corner, get shots up. They allow the second most corner threes in their last 5 at 41%. And that's exactly what Na and Okongwu are going to be asked to do, right? It's Jalen and Dyson create. It's Okongwu and Na be ready to pull. And particularly Na, as far as him just having a ton of confidence now in this elevated role. You look at the overs, I mean, where he like flew over 20 points and took a ton of threes against the Spurs, Suns, Nuggets, Cavs, like just the best teams, pretty much, and some of the best defenses sometimes. And it's just because dude's a gamer. So I absolutely trust him here in a spot where the Hawks are +7 for some reason, despite going up against the Pistons on a back-to-back after double overtime and playing them close. So I think, yeah, he's going to be a big reason why they're hanging in this game because he's just a dog.
Yeah, yeah, he's been awesome. He's justifying the hell out of everything that Atlanta has given him, and the fact that he was always kind of seemingly right on the edge of being worthy of a starting spot in a crowded offense or crowded rotation anyway for the Timberwolves. Still would rather have him than Dante DiVincenzo. Said that last year. Would still say just what a weird choice there. So shout out Nah for definitely having the season that he deserves because he's that dude right now, especially on offense. What a surprise! But Steph is really good and is back and he's playing without Draymond and he's going up against Minnesota. And my first inclination is like, ooh, Steph Curry versus Minnesota. Bad pull-up defense. They're not going to double team. They're the best spot-up defense, limiting attempts, limiting points, everything like that to guys who are waiting to catch a pass. That would not be Steph Curry. He's never, he's always going to be the guy shooting. He's never going to be the guy standing there waiting for the spot up because he's never going to be left alone for a spot up. But then I looked at the fact that Draymond's not in, and I looked at what happens when Steph plays without Draymond, and the fact that the ball is going to be in his hands so much that I think I can start to look at the likelihood that at least the defense starts to shift itself towards him a lot. And if he can shake Jaden McDaniels on screens from guys like Jimmy or I guess Quentin Post, that doesn't sound as good in my head after I say it out loud. Now that he's going to be expecting screens, I think Jaden McDaniels can fight over those. But either way, I do think that just leads to more assists for him. So look, if you wanted to say like 25 plus and 5+ assists for Steph, I am not going to hold you on that at all. He's averaged 5.5 dimes, 13 potential assists per game in the last 3 seasons playing without Draymond Green. He's gotten 5+ assists in 20 of 34 of those games. There's obviously, I could nitpick in those 34 what happened here and there, why this went under, why that went over, whatever. But in this situation, like the numbers tell you that this is still a good place for him to get 5.5 dimes at least. That should be where it's at. We're getting plus money for 5. So I probably will go in on over 24.5 points. I can't get past looking at Steph's history versus Minnesota and watching him just pull this team on offense to where he needs it to be able to hang with the Timberwolves, who struggle on defense enough, right? And they take advantage of that well, but they usually have Draymond out there for that. So this one might be a little bit more high scoring. If Ant does play, it could easily just be a your turn, my turn with Steph and Ant, offense. And if that's the case, like still, I think Steph's usage and everything will be up there enough to get to 4.5.
Yeah, I was surprised by this number for sure. When you just showed it to me, I was like, "What? This
Yeah,
is like
what?
you never get a number this low on Steph Curry." It's because the Wolves overall as a team limit assists, but like this is not a normal basketball player, and they're not going to defend him in a normal way. He's going to be able to slip through and just keep the ball moving, right? And the Warriors at home, much different animal than when we've mostly seen them on the road prior to this bye week.
Yeah, threes and dimes. That's what Steph's going to be doing in this game, I would imagine. So what a shocker! I'm calling Steph's going to hit a lot of threes, but that is all the time I have for you guys in this one with Nate. We are going to be back here on Monday for you guys. We'll have one episode as well with best bets, player props, sides and totals, and everything. We're going to start getting into some cup action over the weekend, so enjoy that. But until we do see you next, happy betting.